Hi, this is Glenn DeVogue. I wanted to talk a little bit about the university and knowledge. We use a big word called epistemology. In other words, the science of how you know something. We have personal understandings about things, and sometimes they're informed, and sometimes they're not very well informed by research. But at the university, what we try to do is use some systematic methods at finding information or knowledge about a particular topic. This is done through research, which are systematic ways of looking at things. Certain people, especially at research universities, are trained to do this, and they're paid. They have fewer classes, but they do a lot more work on developing research. So one of those people is Emily Penner. She works at Stanford University. And I just wanted to show you an example of how your personal knowledge might be one thing, but at the university, what we want to do is draw from also, especially from research of the field that's gathered systematically. Taking a look at this, the question is Teaching for All, or this is called Teach for America. What is the performance of Teach for America students? Now, Teach for America students, basically Ivy League graduates who are recruited to teach in inner city schools and rural areas, in difficult areas, and they just figure, well, these people from Ivy League schools, they're cream of the crop, they're very smart, they score high on tests, they're very engaged in their community and in their schooling, and they're upbeat and positive, which I hope you all are. But they would be great teachers, and if we could only get people, all the people who score high on tests and go to these veteran universities, that would make for a better teacher. That's one thing. The second thing is about Teach for America is that they hope to get people from Ivy Leagues to teach for 2 years. And when they teach for 2 years, they have a better understanding then about teaching. And then when they go on to other jobs that may have a higher profile, that are not teaching, that maybe that background in education can serve them to make wise choices about public policy or administration of one kind or another. So they go through, basically they graduate in the May. They take a 6-week pedagogy, in other words, learning how to teach. 6 weeks. That's not a lot. Pretty intense, and so that's in the summer, and then they start teaching in the fall. And so the question is, how do they do? Is this sufficient? And so this article by Emily Penner, who comes from a prestigious university, so she may have some bias in that regard, did some systematic look at this, very careful. She has methodology listed here. She has these charts that show the difference in how Teach for America people teach versus people that graduate from, for example, California State University programs. And I just want to rush on to the results and discussion here at the bottom, which I've highlighted. So she says basically in math, Teach for America students are actually better, probably because they have more content and they score better on tests. They're just more knowledgeable about math, so they teach math better. In reading, they do teach reading well, but only for the top group of students. For your very fast students, they teach better than your typical veteran teacher. But for your struggling readers, they don't teach as well, and there's a significant difference. So, because they are usually put into urban, poor districts and areas, this is kind of a shocking finding and has implications for policy, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to have people who are not good at teaching the lower group, the struggling readers, to be in those classes. One of the things that they found was that there is relatively little difference between these Teach for America students and, with all their superior schooling, their preparation, their SAT prep courses, their Ivy League preparation, all of that, they're not actually significantly better than people who are trained in a regular public university teacher education program. Obviously, teacher education programs have a much longer period of study of pedagogy. Teach for America has 6 weeks. California State University typically has about a year. So the public university instruction is much longer and more intense. But Teach for America, of course, they have other advantages. So when you're thinking about which is better, it's best to go to these research articles, take a look at the data, the method that they used, see what conclusions they come to, and that can help you inform your opinion about whether or not we should have one policy or another, rather than going to places like journalists who kind of have this random sample of, they interview this person, they interview that person, maybe they read some research, but it's not systematic. And so it's important to use those research articles that have been peer-reviewed. That means reviewed by other researchers in the same area, that have been peer-reviewed and published in reputable journals. Thanks. Hope you learned something.